You made the decision back in January to cover legal fees up to $5,000 if an employee or a partner faces legal issues due to anti-abortion laws. You're also giving them a travel stipend, medical cost stipend. Why did you decide to do this?
Yeah, that's right, Emily. This was important to us for a lot of reasons, but I think the two that I'll highlight today is that Alloy's mission, we're a fintech company. We really want to see equitable outcomes. Financial services industry plays a big role in that for people, particularly people of color, particularly women. And so this supporting this really aligned very well with our values as a company and our mission and vision as a company. The second reason, potentially more tangible, is it supports our hiring and retention. We already have tons of policies and benefits in place, as do many companies, that help us attract and retain the best talent possible. And so this was an easy way to sort of say, look, this just adds on to our medical benefits, our PTO policies, all sorts of stuff. And so it was to us a necessary thing we had to do to remain competitive.
Now, you told Bloomberg News that reimbursing workers for abortion-related travel is the low bar of what they can do. What more should companies be doing?
Well, look, I think this is one piece of how to make life a little bit better for the poor, the people who have to go through this in their lives. It's not something anyone wants to have to deal with. It's just one piece of it. And so I think our policy will evolve as we decide how other potential benefits we could offer, or sort of evolving what reproductive rights means even for our population at Alloy. And I hope other companies would do the same. I think we're seeing that it's a really competitive talent industry. This is probably a low-ish bar, and that it's a relatively inexpensive set of benefits related to, if you looked at what we spend on healthcare, for example, all sorts of stuff, incredibly expensive. And so I think there's a lot more there that we and other companies can do, and probably have to do, to fill in the gaps that the government has left us with.
Sheryl Sandberg of Meta posted today saying this is a scary day for women across our country. Every woman, no matter where she lives, must be free to choose whether and when she becomes a mother. Few things are more important to women's health and equality. And I just want to underscore that this is a draft opinion. It doesn't necessarily signal where the Supreme Court stands at this very moment. But we're seeing, a lot of criticism about how other companies are handling reproductive benefits. For example, Amazon came out with their package earlier this week. There's some criticism there that it doesn't cover contract workers, who are kind of the lifeblood of keeping the trains running on time at Amazon. Do you think their policy is lacking?
I haven't looked at that policy in detail. I would assume if it does not cover contract workers, that does seem like a big gap, considering that's a big part of their workforce. I think that's true of a lot of companies who are probably contemplating this. That being said, we haven't seen that many companies do this. I was really happy to see Yelp, Citibank, Amazon do this all in the last few days, really, I think. I would encourage Facebook, Meta, if that's how they feel about women, they should probably put something in place, offer really good benefits. We know they have a ton of money sitting around, ton of cash. This is a pretty easy thing for them to implement. And I would encourage any company that has the luxury of doing that to do it.
Now, Alloy has a history of taking a public stance on political issues. For example, you prohibit companies from using Alloy's products if they would deny customers access based on their immigration or citizenship status. Have you found taking these public political stands has hurt business at all?
No, we haven't. I can't promise you it never will, and we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. We haven't. I think the benefits of what it has given, sort of the alignment between us, our values, and our team, again, and kind of keeping folks engaged, getting them on board, getting them excited about us and our mission, has outweighed any potential negative impacts we've seen so far. I don't think that there will be zero negative impacts. We work with a bunch of banks, which are historically much more conservative, as you can imagine. So I would anticipate some fallout at some point. For us, there's been basically no negative impacts thus far. And the moral imperative, as well as the business case I can make for this, really outweigh, to me, the risk that or make the risk very much worth it.
I'm curious what the internal reaction has been. Often companies don't want to take political stands because, it might impact their retention and recruiting efforts. Certainly, not necessarily everyone agrees
Yeah.
with your policies, even people who work at your own company. What's been the reaction internally?
So far, really positive. Again, there may be people, I'm sure there are people who disagree with this who work at Alloy. And we are open to the idea that you don't have to agree with every single thing we do or everything I agree with or my co-founders agree with to be at Alloy. However, the response I've seen has been unilaterally positive. I've gotten a ton of messages and DMs from people, both when we announced the policy in January and today when we put out a statement given the leak that happened last night. Just really positive feedback that this is something that aligns with their values and that they're proud to work here. I got a message today from someone in one of the states that I think is going to be the most impacted, who just said they really appreciate it and it means a lot to them. So that was especially sort of heartening to hear.